Today in the crypto space, we're seeing the market kind of going sideways. Bitcoin right around that $63,000 level and Ethereum right around that $3,500 mark. The rest of the crypto space, the altcoins are a mix of green and red. We have some good gainers today like Altcoin, Bonk, Jupiter, Beam, Floki, and many others. However, guys, in today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but I want to talk about one project that is looking pretty good and is getting some support at horizontal levels, and that project is called Maple. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. We got to see what's going on here with this market, because we can see that the market cap is taking a bit of a break. We got a nice impulsive move to the upside in the last little while, bringing the market cap back up to about 2.4 and a bit trillion, which is pretty good. Obviously a nice move to the upside, but it does look like it's in a consolidation for continuation, right? These little patterns that we get here, either they're bull flags or pennants, you know, at the end of the day, they do represent continuation pattern, which is very likely to see the market cap flow to higher levels. We do have a bit of a trading volume move to the upside, which is good, but also the volume is retracing just a little bit. Is this a little bit of a dip before we continue moving to the upside? We have been getting some green price action in the last 24 hours, 48 hours, which is obviously very, very healthy and something that we're all looking forward to. But what we're really looking forward to is a continuation, particularly where Bitcoin now is getting a potential bottom or a bounce off the support and maybe getting to the top of the range where there was once resistance. And if we break that resistance, guys, we're going to see Bitcoin hitting higher levels, much higher levels, getting into price discovery once again. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. At the current moment, what we do have to pay attention to is, is Bitcoin may come back down on the short-term time frames and maybe get a confirmation low, a higher low of some sort of divergence, just a confirmation to come down to suggest that the previous low was the absolute low here in this in its consolidation, in its structure. So we'll take a look at the Bitcoin chart, of course, today, and then I want to talk about Maple. Maple is definitely the chart is looking pretty solid in the sense that it's clear. Clarity is very important here, guys. When you're looking into the markets, you want to have a clear chart, because it doesn't really necessarily matter if it's bullish or a bearish chart. What matters is the clarity, because if it's a bearish chart, you could always short the market, right? Or take profit and prepare your portfolio accordingly. If it's a bullish chart, that's fine. You could always go long and all that. But if it's a clear chart, you can make decisions very easily. And those are ideal scenarios, is where there's a lot of clarity in the chart so you can plan your move, right? Planning your setup is a very, very important thing, because it includes many, many aspects. And the more clarity you have, the better chances you have of creating a nice setup that will, reward you at the end. Bitcoin getting pretty good here, obviously, as you can see with that higher high. Ethereum doing this very similar thing. The retracement is definitely coming down a little bit harder, but still okay here. We have BNB still doing good, made a slightly higher high with this retracement. But Solana, I have a feeling Solana is looking for other things. Solana at the current moment is looking for a potential breakout out of the previous high, which is a very, very interesting thing. Why? Because it is a lower cap. I'm not saying it's the lowest cap or a low cap. It's a lower cap than Bitcoin and Ethereum, which means that it has some room to grow, right? It has some room to go. Maybe we see Solana catch up a little bit closer to Ethereum, little by little, or even BNB. Maybe it flips BNB. At the end of the day, BNB is doing also very well. And as we see CZ, re-enter the crypto space, let's put it that way, we can definitely see BNB rally up as well. Let's continue going down. We have Altcoin. Wow, what a nice move, 6.2% in the last 24 hours, which is healthy. Nice move for the Telegram ecosystem. Perhaps, integration and all of that is coming around the corner. Another one that is looking pretty good out of nowhere is Cardano. Cardano up 3.5%. Now, I know it's not a lot, And I know the 6% in the last 7 days is also not a lot, but it's still pretty good. What I like the best is the actual price action. It flew right through previous price action, previous highs, which is a really good thing. It's in an expansion. Now we would like to see a bull flag or some sort of pennant to suggest a continuation, obviously, after Cardano wants to kind of take a break and we see some profit taking and obviously a consolidation. But right now Cardano's looking good. AVAX did its thing already and it's pushing down, so that's totally fine. Let it take a break, and the rest of the market's looking pretty good. Like even Chainlink maybe looking for that higher high, breaking out with some strength. Litecoin and many others. We have Matic making these Adam and Eve type of patterns. V recovery, rounded bottom. This is looking really good actually. Matic is probably one of the nicer charts that I've seen so far. Pretty good stuff here for Matic. Pepe kind of grinding down. Kaspa holding strong, guys. The community's holding up. Kaspa price 4.1% to the upside after a bit of a dip based on a bit of FUD. And it's not just necessarily FUD. It's also fact. Let's be real. It's not a fear, uncertainty, and doubt based on false claims. The reality is that they did deploy their smart contract platform and it kind of flopped a little bit, but it's all good. We have to understand what exactly is happening there. They flopped on their release, no big deal. They come back, they do their thing, and they release it again, and they get it right this time. It's better to happen now than later. And ultimately, we know that Kaspa, the actual project itself, has some great fundamentals. We just got to give it a bit of time and understand. Yes, there's a lot of competition within the same space, other layer ones that offer great opportunities as well, and I definitely agree on diversification regardless, even though I am bullish on what I'm seeing from the Kaspa chart, not necessarily based on the fundamentals and the issue that they had with their smart contract. Let's keep on moving down. Let's move forward. What else do we see here? Monero kind of grinding to the upside. We have Render looking pretty good as well. Nice inverse type of head and shoulders, guys. The market is looking good. Look at XLM grinding to the upside, and a lot of good price action here to suggest that the market may continue upwards. However, some of these projects are still waking up, right? We're getting a nice bounce from Floki, almost up 10%, but it didn't even break previous high. So the majority of the move has yet to come. And Bonk, look at that. It actually broke previous high, so it's up a little bit more here. So we can see that really the majority of the price action happens when we start breaking structural resistance, and to the point that we start changing, perhaps changing character of structure, or a break of structure. Either way, you start getting impulsive moves to the upside. Brett doing pretty good, at least it's going sideways, and as you keep on going through the market, we can see that generally speaking, it's either sideways or a grind to the upside, which is really healthy regardless. Even like ENS as an example, shot up, now it's going sideways, but don't knock it. It's up 39% in 7 days, guys, so what a good gainer regardless. We have Beam doing great. We have Multiverse X finally waking up, but nothing major. But what I like is again, the price action versus the structure. It actually started getting into an expansion, so this is a good thing. Maybe a bit of a wake-up call, proof of life. Are we getting we waking up here looking for higher levels, guys? Generally speaking, the market is looking okay. A lot of these guys are waking up potentially, and we are seeing some few bounces off bottoms. We have been in a bearish trend for a good little while. Perhaps now is time to expect that the bulls come back and take the ball in their court and see what they have. Let's see if the bulls have a bit of strength here to give us a bit of a signal that we're ready to continue moving to the upside. All right, guys, I know you're here to talk about charts, so let's begin talking about Bitcoin, and then we'll take a look at Mint Layer. Maple. Obviously, Maple's a great project, but Bitcoin has to lead the way for these altcoins. At the end of the day, Maple and many others, including Mint Layer, at the end of the day, are obviously pegged to what happens to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin holds strong here and stays above horizontal support, we can see Maple and many others, continue grinding to the upside, particularly as Bitcoin goes sideways. Let's take a look at this in a little bit more detail. Bitcoin is definitely within a sideways type of channel, a sideways bull flag, whatever you want to call this. At the end of the day, it is healthy, it is normal, and it's expected that eventually we break some sort of structure. Right now we're in a sideways nice channel. Do we break from the upside and start maybe getting into price discovery, or do we finally say, you know what, we need to come down to pick up some bullish bids, and do we break to the downside and get into a bearish stance at about $52,500, which would be my next area of interest to see what kind of support we get at this level. I may deploy on some sort of a structure that we get here, and then of course there's another volume gap that takes us down to about 43. Guys, I don't want to get ahead of myself here, because as of now we have to remain bullish. We have no choice. Why? Because we are above horizontal supports. The reason why I like this area, and this is an area that I defined very, very early prior to this price action, is because the volume makes a great indication of where the emotional individuals are in this price action, and they are right here, and they defended this bottom fairly accurately. Now, it doesn't mean that we can't come down and give the bears an opportunity to make a lower low. Doesn't mean that. It could happen, guys, so be prepared. Very similar to what happened here. You can see that we got a nice relief to the upside, got rejected, and came right back down to make that lower low. But guess what happened? We got bought up real quick. We hunted the liquidity. We, swing failure, came back up, and used the support again as support, and then got that bounce to the upside. And that's how inverse head and shoulders are made. Now, do we make something like that right here? Is it possible that we get a nice pivot point structure that we can put a bit of reliance on, to give us that confidence with all the confluence in the chart that we have here at the current moment? Yes, we can get that here. So the reality is that I have no choice but to remain bullish as long as we are above this level. Now, I do feel like it's very necessary to get onto the lower time frames, because really, you can see that we did run up. We got into that position the other day. I did let you guys know about this entry and exit strategy right into this volume gap, and guess what? We got rejected, and now we're coming back down to the volume gap, back testing the previous highs. Guys, this is, very, very textbook price action, to the point that now I'm going to release this. I'm going to remove it. We filled up the volume gap with a bit of volume, and we can see that it's very likely that we continue seeing some bearish response here, given that the volatility, the orange line, is still pushing to the downside and hasn't reached its absolute bottom. We want to see the orange line kind of bottom out, roll over a little bit, roll to the upside, and continue to the upside. I believe the next impulsive move could be another impulsive move for the bulls. We can go up for another higher high here on Bitcoin. So this is a short-term retracement, in my opinion, until we see a bullish response, because the 4-hour looks pretty bullish still. The trend and the momentum is still upward sloping. Yes, we kind of tagged in the overbought condition, but I wouldn't mind to see another bullish response, to see, even if it's a lower high on the momentum, but even a lower high on the momentum could still give us a class A bullish divergence, where we get a higher high on the price action, maybe tagging this 200 EMA on the 4-hour. So these are all great indications that Bitcoin may have a little bit more to the upside before we get a reversal. And if it happens, I'm talking about a short-term reversal based on the 4-hour. We do see that the trend might be getting an EMA cross any moment, with a red histogram bar here on the 4-hour, not before we may, hunt some liquidity to the upside. Like I'm saying, it could be possible that we get another impulsive move. But back to the daily, guys, you can see that the daily's primed. In my opinion, the daily's looking pretty good. Look at the trend. EMA is facing up. Green histogram bar to the upside. We got the waves, the expansion waves tapering in. I would have loved to see bullish divergence into here, but we're not really getting it, right? We're making right into this level. Let's look at all this. You can see a double bottom, if anything, or maybe a bit of divergence, just a little bit, but nothing major. But I do like the EMA cross, and I do like the green histogram bar. And let's take a look at momentum. Momentum at the end of the day is doing pretty good as well. We can see volatility is all the way oversold. So let's see what the bears got in them. Let's see what the bears got. Let's see this orange line come down to oversold conditions, and then we'll see what kind of volatility we get. And then in the meantime, we'll see how low the momentum goes. Maybe we get some bullish divergence right into here. Maybe we get another sign, a lower low on the price action, higher low on the momentum, class A bullish divergence. We start getting in with a bit more confidence, especially as we bounce and as we get closer to the 200 daily EMA, which is this orange line right here. The 200 daily, should be respected. We got diagonals, we got 200 dailies, we got bottom of the volume gap, even as worst case scenario coming down to here. So we got some price action here to suggest that we could get a support and a quick reaction back into structure for a potential breakout. Now, the bullish thesis is quite easy. As you can see, all we're really waiting for is a continuation to the upside based on a bull flag, and the likely target is at about 85. At this current moment, I remain bullish until proven otherwise, and that invalidation of a bullish thesis is falling below the thick white line, which is at about 60,500 with some volume, even breaking down, back testing, closing daily candles below it, and getting all those little confirmations to suggest that, we're done, we're coming down. Just keep in mind, liquidity hunts do happen all the time, and we do need to be prepared. All right, guys, I know you're here to talk about mid layer as well, so let's jump right into mid layer. Maple, I keep on saying mid layer. Maple is what I want to talk about today. Maple's looking pretty good, okay? Maple's looking pretty good as far as its structure. Structurally speaking, we do have these bottoms that are interesting. Bottoms. You can see that the clarity here in this chart is absolutely epic, in the sense that we have a clear volume gap, which I appreciate. And the volume gap stems all the way from down here as well, because even if you introduce previous price action with this consolidation and this consolidation, it's still not that strong. So we do have some weakness, and that's, you can conclude that by looking at the volume that, you know, basically happened into this area. It's not that much, a little bit of a spike right into here, but just a little bit. And honestly, if you look at that bottom that I'm pointing on right now, you can see that ultimately many opportunities were there for these individuals to basically take profits or capitulate. This whipsaw price action, straight up, straight down, got these people pretty much wrecked in either way, in either direction, right? So if you went short, you got wrecked. If you went long, okay, you took profits, but then if you didn't, you got wrecked. Or you might have capitulated or put yourself at break even, or whatever the case is, right? Because this type of dip is not the greatest. It does induce a lot of emotion. But after some sideways, where you kind of see a bit of accumulation happening, because we are making higher lows, right? Very clearly upward sloping with volume suggesting that there are more buyers than sellers. Eventually we jumped above the 200 daily, got a nice spike to the upside, back test, and then we started creating a volume gap, which needs to be addressed, because ultimately that's the weak spot. If the price falls below this zone with some volume and confirmation, we can come down to about $7.57, maybe slightly lower, you know, to hunt a little bit more. But the reality is this is the weak spot. Now, the only time we actually get bearish in such a structure is if we break below. If we do not break below, we should remain bullish, because this is support. And who's to say that we cannot get a bounce and still go range sideways? Basically, go throughout this price action, we can go range sideways for a good little while, and just consider this a liquidity hunt, just a quick sweep of the highs, you know, some sort of trap, and then that would be done with it, and that would be that head. But what about if we come up here, get rejected, and then come right back down? That would be, you know, pretty much shoulder, head, shoulder with a bearish divergence. But we're still early here, guys. We're still early. We're still chopping around here. I feel like a bounce from this horizontal, which we've touched many times at entries, right? Remember, the entry levels was here. If you took risk at these levels, you're in a good entry position, where at least you can put yourself at break even, just in case it does fall. And at best, you know, we get back to previous price action and start touching about $21, 21.7, something like that. So which is pretty good, because we're gonna respect the previous high, and then we can make some decisions. Ultimately, if this market decides to pivot to the upside, we have to understand that Maple is within a great narrative, the real world asset narrative. So do I expect Maple to do well? Yes, I do expect it to do well, given that it is a smaller market cap, and obviously there's a lot of risk associated to smaller market caps, but there's also a lot of reward. And if you look at the risk to reward, ultimately the only risk that we have is that we fall below the volume gap, and then obviously we get closer to the point of control and all this volume, where we can say, you know what, like if we start breaking below these lows, get out. Why? Because there's no more price action below, and we get into a dip discovery to the abyss. It goes through the abyss of price action, where things get a little bit scary, because we don't know where it's going to hold support. But as of now, we have two levels. One right here at $11 more or less, and one down here at $7.50 more or less. And those are two good DCA zones to be buying the dip in anticipation of that bounce. Okay, guys, so looking pretty good here. Let's take a look at momentum and trend. At the end of the day, the momentum is looking pretty good. We're getting divergence all into here. As you can see, higher highs on the price action, lower highs on the momentum, and we're getting follow through by making this lower high. You can see that very, very clearly. You know, we're getting that follow through, but eventually we'll see that the bulls will step in. The bears will get exhausted. You know, they'll get stopped out. They'll get basically, this support line is too strong. And you can see as it kind of hesitates there longer and longer, we start to make rounded bottoms. Each little bottom as we come down starts to get rounded and rounded and rounded, because really that's accumulation, right? We're looking for structural accumulation indications, and we can see it right into here, which is pretty good. Now, did we get oversold enough? That is a big question, because if we didn't, what are the chances that we get oversold? And if we do get oversold, where's the next level that we expect support, right? So we came as close as to about, to be a bit accurate, about 31%. Below 30% is where you consider, you know, traditionally oversold, like right into here. And usually this is where you get the best opportunities. So does that mean that we should prepare for that to happen? Do we prepare and expect it to for it to get oversold? You could definitely expect that and prepare for it, because just in case it does happen, do you want to be left blindsided and not being prepared for that opportunity? Because if it does get oversold and drop below the 30% mark, it is very likely that we fall through the volume gap and get down to about, again, 750 more or less, and that's where I would be willing to buy the dip even harder. So how do we play this out? We have to consider a DCA strategy that integrates momentum and also the trend, and you can see that the trend at the current state is looking pretty good, because we're getting an EMA cross to the upside, we're getting some green histogram bars, we're not getting any signs of bullish divergence because we're a bit early, but it's likely after a bit of an impulse to the upside. As you can see right here, as far as trend, a retracement, now we get into the bullish control zone, and then we start to see things really start moving from the bullish perspective. So we can see, as the price is going sideways, everything else is pretty much shifting to the upside, except this huge expansion, which really didn't represent the price action. You can see the expansion wasn't even that massive. So we have to be patient here, guys, because patience, I think, is going to be key, but also taking strategic risks based on horizontal levels is also key. And I do feel like right now, based on where we are horizontal, it's not a bad idea to deploy a bit of capital, just understanding that if we break below, you might want to stop yourself out, or just have that mentality that you're going to have to double down, triple down, and DCA a lot heavier down here to drag your average cost lower. Then once we create structure, some sort of bottom level, like something like this, right into here, if that were to happen, if we fall through, we want something like that. Once we get into that zone, yes, we deploy a little bit more, put that horizontal stop loss, and then expect that bounce. But until then, guys, I have no choice but to remain bullish until invalidated, and again, above $11.35, I remain bullish, guys, here on Maple. So it's not bad. Overall fundamentals are decent, narrative is decent, price action is looking pretty good. We could come down for a bit more of a retracement before we conclude. Let's see what kind of Fibonacci we have here. We're coming down, we fell below the 786. We could get down to these the golden pocket we fell below. We could get down to the 786. Now if I came all the way down here, yeah, we're still at the golden pocket. If I want to use this low, we're somewhat at the 786. You can see there's a little bit of ambiguity here, not so precise, but it's all good, guys. 786, golden pocket, all decent retracements, all levels of which, especially in bullish projects, all levels of which that don't last very long. They get bought up real quick, especially under bullish conditions. All right, guys, if I've offered you any values in this video, do the channel a huge favor, slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.